Dear all, thank you for and my colleagues Mazen Nasif and Dr. Hala Aslan. Our research today is about under title Comparative Analysis between Egyptian and Syrian Bimaristans during the Mamluk era. The research objectives are shedding light on the importance of domestic architecture in Islamic societies and the role of their healthcare centers, studying the components of traditional Islamic Bimaristans, the architectural components, of course, and understanding the Bimaristans as an architectural product and studying its relationship and formation with Islamic culture. Our methodology is divided into a conceptual background and comparative analysis section. The first section deals with Islamic culture and its influence on the principles of architecture and the principles of architecture in Bimaristans, that to stand on a concrete analytical factors that achieve the functional role of Bimaristans and reflects social cultural bonds. Concerning the comparative analysis, we are going to monitor the status of Bimaristans in Egypt and Syria, that to select suitable Bimaristans to apply our studies on. And then we will detect our results and put our recommendations. Concerning the conceptual background, Islamic architecture in general has a number of main principles that we can trace along different areas and in any Islamic region or any Islamic community, where most of the Islamic buildings featured by centrality and the sense of verticality, and also the sense of horizontality, as we believe in the existence of the Kaaba at the center of the world. Muslims also pray in a horizontal line or simulated horizontal line towards the Kaaba, and also the sense of verticality where the throne of God. Many other principles like hierarchy and unity and multiplicity are discussed in the paper. Then we turn to the principles of the architectural principles of Bimaristans. After research, we found that Bimaristans, Islamic Bimaristans, are divided into 8 zones. The service zone, where the portals, doors, internal corridors, kitchens, bathrooms, and restrooms, vehicle parkings. This is the services zone. The second zone is the medical zone, and this is the crucial part of the of any Bimaristan, where the outpatient clinics, pharmacies, a place for serving the dead bodies, where ritual washings, administrative zones, and the religious zones. Educational zone, the residential zones, and for workers and students as well, and charity rooms if there is any place for watering or sabil, and the recreational areas. Then we turn to the analytical part, where the comparative analysis, we listed a number of the mentioned or documented Bimaristans in Cairo, and we choose the Mansouri Bimaristan that was built in 1284. Still exists and work as a hospital nowadays, and as well we listed the Bimaristans of Syria, and we selected the Aragon Bimaristan. So we have 2 Bimaristans, Al-Mansouri Bimaristans in Cairo, and Aragon Bimaristan, which was built 2 centuries before Al-Mansouri Bimaristan. Then I will give you just a clue about the analysis, how it how the process took its place. For example, we put the elements of the service zone. And we discussed each part, the portals, the doors, how it worked. So here in Mansouriya alone, we find that it's a monumental scale door or a portal that is treated in 3 layers. These 3 layers is recessed. Each layer is recessed inside the other to give the user an orientation to go inside this place. Also to give him a sense of human scale, not at that very huge monumental scale. There in the Mansouri Bimaristan, there was no walls surrounding the Bimaristan or boundaries. They were guarded and saved by the important surrounding buildings, and these surrounding buildings as well works as an isolation from any other activities that may annoy the patients inside the Bimaristan. Also, the internal corridors, we discussed how it works and what influence it gives or sense it gives for the patients, how they treated the corridors and foyers, and play with the shade and shadows to treat them spiritually before physically. Also the kitchen zone or kitchen area, and where they put it in a place which is too close to the entrance, the secondary entrance that is made for the schoolers and students in the madrasa. Also, they considered the restrooms, and this area is for the is between the mosque and the Bimaristan, and these 2 restrooms was one is for women and the other is for males, where there is no bath inside the Bimaristan. However, there is another structure outside the Bimaristan that includes a bath for the to serve the Bimaristan. There is no stone clock tower here. However, the minaret that lies beside the dome of the shrine works as a clock or to give the patients and doctors a clue about the time along the day. And there is no vehicle parking in this Bimaristan. This way, we analyzed each zone of the 8 zones in both of Bimaristan, and then we stand on a number of results by comparing the 2 Bimaristans, where we found that for the service zones, almost the 2 zones are equal, unless the Bimaristan of Aragon missed the restrooms. The study reveals that the Bimaristans that were examined lack the stone clock tower. However, we assume that the large minarets in the mosque provides the same function, and locals are aware of the appropriate times for their diverse needs. The only difference between the 2 case studies concerning the service room is the absence of restrooms in the Aragon Bimaristan. And despite the bathrooms are very important in the Islamic culture and for the physical service as a Bimaristan. Also, Bimaristan Aragon didn't include any area of ritual washing, and also it missed the administrative, religious, educational, residential, and charity zones. And concerning the recreational areas, both of them include recreational areas where they have open courtyards and water fountains, but both of them missed any open gardens. However, they use the greeneries inside the courtyard. For the cosmological point, from the cosmological point of view, we can notice that the design of both Bimaristans followed the spiritual and cultural aspects of Islamic communities. Both buildings are event-type buildings that achieve unity and multiplicity. Also, they use the courtyard as the core or central point for the internal zones. Eventually, we can claim that both of them can be considered as a model of the Islamic domestic architecture. However, although this study provides a broad overview on the design of domestic architecture in the Islamic world, however, we found that we need to make more studies concerning the demolished Bimaristans to trace the process of developing this building type along the different Islamic periods. Also, studies concerning the existing Bimaristans need to be more precise, as we assume that there are some zones must have been considered in Arabun and Bimaristan, but not documented. And for contemporary architects who deal with this type of heritage building must take into their account what has been mentioned in this paper regarding the initial principles of design, which have been extrapolated from what has been inherited through different eras, Islamic eras, taking into account the cultural and social aspects when making any renovations for the continued use of this building. Thank you for listening, and we are eager to answer any questions.